Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. It's episode 381, and we've got a great guest with us. We've got Adrian Spiac. I'm probably totally destroyed your surname. I apologise, Adrian.
Yeah, that's a new record.
Would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yes, I'm Adrian Spiac. I'm the co-founder of Cozmoslabs and TranslatePress. We basically are focusing on delivering premium plugins for WordPress.
Oh, that's great. And I've got my great co-host, Cindy Nicholson. Cindy, would you like to introduce yourself to the new listeners and viewers?
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's Cindy Nicholson here from thecoursewhisperer.com, and I help entrepreneurs that want to create great online courses.
So, Adrian, you produce a really fantastic multi-language plugin that would be really useful for membership or people that got a course website that looking to have more than one language. But I thought to start off with, we would be discussing some of the things people got to know about how to set up a plugin like yours, and what are the pitfalls and some things that they should know. How does that sound, Adrian?
Yeah, sounds great.
Right. But before we go into that, folks, I just want to quickly talk about one of my major sponsors, and that's Kingster Hosting. And what does Kingster Hosting provide? Well, it provides only WordPress hosting. It only specializes in hosting WordPress websites. It specializes if you're looking for quality hosting, if you've got a membership or an e-learning course site, or you've got an e-commerce site. Kingster is a perfect partner. They offer all the technology, all the bells and whistles, staging site, one-click backup. But the main two things is that their network utilizes Google Cloud hosting, and secondly, they offer tremendous 24/7 support, which is some of the best in the industry. So if you're a developer, power user, or somebody that just got fed up with mediocre hosting, go to kingster.com. Right, Adrian. So what do you think are some of the main things people got to be aware of before they set up, look at having a site that has multiple languages?
Yeah, so I think the main thing, or the main question, the basic question they should ask is, do they really need a multilingual site? And why exactly would they need a multilingual site? For example, in some countries, like, I don't know, Canada or Switzerland, you don't have an option, really. If you're a professional business and you're well established, you have to provide your language in your website in multiple languages. But other than that, I think there are a lot of advantages of offering a multilingual website. One of them is the ability to reach more people. You can reach more customers if you have a web membership site, or you have a shop that's selling products. Having the content available in the user's native language is a key to gaining trust, credibility, and can also increase conversions. So there are several studies. I won't enter into a lot of details. We haven't performed any study ourselves, but from the case studies we read and the things available on the internet, you can see a significant increase in traffic as well as conversions on businesses which opted to build a multilingual website.
Oh, that's great. Cindy?
Yeah, Adrian, thanks for that. I live in my world where I'm mostly English, and most of the websites that I go to are English. And it's interesting because I'm planning a trip in September, so I'm visiting a lot of websites that are in different countries, so Japan, China, or what have you. And I'm finding that the translation to English is super, super important. You talk about the advantage of being able to reach more people, but can you talk a little bit more about how to know whether or not your, your membership site or your course, whether or not you should, is there a way to find out whether or not you are missing out on opportunities?
Absolutely. I think the simplest way would be to open Google Analytics and check out your traffic sources and see you have the exact countries list where your, percentage of customers or visitors that come from each country. So I think you can easily assess if a significant number of visitors come from a certain country which, for example, do not speak English. It probably would be a good idea to have your website translated into their language as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Just even going to Google Analytics to see where your audience is coming from is a great way to see if there's people who maybe, as a second language accessing your site. True. And another thing which comes to mind, for example, if you're offering you have a membership site or you have an e-commerce shop, and you basically want to expand your reach. You want to reach more people, reach people from different countries. This is the way to go. You should have your content translated in their language as well. No, that's a good point. Jonathan?
Yeah, so what are the kind of technology solutions out there, and what's some of their strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, this is a very good question. If we're talking about WordPress, I see three options. You could either go for a plugin, multilingual plugin, which basically allows you to translate your website in multiple languages, which from my point of view is the most available and convenient option. The second option would be, let's say you want to, for more complex websites which have different content in different languages, I would suggest setting up a WordPress multi-site. And that allows you to basically have a certain site in one language. So you basically have a language for each site. This is super convenient when you have, for example, different products or different things available for each language, but can become a huge hassle when you have to, if you have the same content and you need to manage like each website. Imagine updating, for example, a product description, updating it in English and then going to, French, Italian, and so on. It can be pretty complicated to manage. The third option would be to integrate like a third-party software as a service, and like Public, for example, which has the benefit that it's pretty easy to set up and use. But the main disadvantage is that once you stop paying, basically all the translated content, you're losing it. It's not available anymore. So your website stops being multilingual, which is a pain. It's a pain, and this is something I would recommend only to users who have a huge budget and are not technical at all.
All right, let's go on, sorry.
No, coming back to the plugins, like the WordPress plugins, you have a lot of solutions which we can go into, which offer a lot of options, like for translating different type of interfaces and different type of like complexity. So you have a wide variety of options which you can use to translate your website.
So excluding your own solution,
yes.
which we're going to talk about later on, what do you see as the three main leading multi-language plugins in the WordPress community at the present moment? And could you, you seem a very fair person, so could you outline their weaknesses and their strengths?
Of course. I must admit, I haven't played a lot with most of them lately, but I did used a lot of them in the past. So there
I thought you might, so that's why I suggested you come on the show, because I thought you'd be somebody that's tested them quite extensively.
Yes. So the main free plugin that I'm saying the main one because it has the most active installs, it's Polylang. This is the most popular free solution, and the most popular paid solution is Wpml. These are two, judging by the number of users that use them, two of the most popular translation solutions on the market. The thing that the way they like strengths and weaknesses. Okay, let's go into that. We used to work with WPML a lot. It is a really useful tool for complex websites. It has I think a ton of features. It has support from a lot of themes and plugins. You know, a lot of them are WPML compatible. So they add compatibility in order to be able to create multilingual sites using WPML. The main issues that we had with the plugin was related to speed sometimes, and the fact that it can get pretty complex and pretty complicated to set up for our clients. Before building products, we were a development agency, so we used to build a website for a lot of clients, and the main issue we encountered with WPML was that sometimes editing stuff or updating translations was not so straightforward. It's an excellent tool, but it's more like a developer tool than a tool that can be used for someone which hasn't any technical knowledge and it's just wants his website translated. So I would put it like that.
And the other one?
And Polylang, pretty much the same. I think it's a little bit easier to use. Of course, it's free, so it has a huge user base, and all that feedback it got acted upon, because when you have users, you can get a lot of feature requests and bugs, so you can polish your product pretty well. I would say it's also a good solution. I don't find it sufficiently intuitive. That's for beginners. We're talking about people who are business owners, who are website owners, who are membership site owners, who just want to have their website translated in the easiest way possible. And why am I saying that? Our vision was, I wanted something that was super easy to use, that would let you know exactly what you're translating. Most of the plugins on the market do the translation part from the back end of WordPress. So you mostly are looking at a string and don't know exactly where that string is positioned on the front end of the website. So that lacks context and can, when a translator comes to translate that certain sentence, it can easily put it out of context.
Yeah, that's a really fantastic point, really, Adrian, because that could be a devil, especially in headlines and H1, H2 tag headlines. They can break out of the basic layout structure. It could rapidly start to look pretty messy, can't it?
Yeah, it can.
Right, we're going to go for a break. And when we come back, we're going to delve into the world of multi-language websites in a bit more detail with Adrian, our guest. Be back in a few moments, folks. It's something we all have to look at as a developer or a power user. Are we going to have our site in multiple languages? So I thought it was an excellent topic. And I thought Adrian would be the right guy to talk about it. So when he came on the radar, I thought, let's bag him and have him on the show. Cindy, got a question?
Okay, I do. I'm not a techie person, so strings and whatever you're talking about doesn't resonate with me. But what does is the client experience, right? When I'm on the other side of a website that, has translation options. And again, because I've been doing a lot of research recently, I've been landing on websites where I've needed the translation into English. And I guess my question is, because sometimes the translation is horrible, and you can't understand what the heck the person is trying to say, would all of the plugins kind of get the translation services from the same place? Or like how can you ensure the quality of the translation? Is there anything that you can do, or is it just the nature of the beast because it's automated to some extent?
Yeah, excellent question.
I didn't know if it was a stupid question or not.
No. You can. I mean, it's a real problem, and there's no control over the quality of translation. So you can do a couple of things. First, it's not a good idea to set up, automatic translations. We offer these integrations as well because it helps you speed things up. But my suggestion would be to always work with professional translators, especially when it comes to sensitive content like a landing page or your home page or so on. And you can ensure the quality by, checking the translator profile before. And there are also services which offer this sort of, tasks, which some plugins integrate. For example, Wpml has a lot of integrations with has his own service, and there are many available there. The thing is, we also set something up similar, which allow you to create translator accounts and allow other people to translate certain portions of your website. So I think you can do that, like make sure you're working with professional translators, or use a service that is known for offering only this, like only professional translations.
And sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no. My comment was, I guess some of those websites have probably just been using the automated translation.
Probably.
But yeah, so I mean, I think that makes sense.
That's the fastest way, and it works sometimes. It's not something I recommend because, Google crawls on those websites, and if you're trying to rank, you should at least enter and edit the strings to make them sound even better. Like the automatic translation tools, even though they're becoming better and better, for example, DeepL is another really good competitor to Google Translate, which we're gonna add support to. The idea is to always edit and improve the existing automatic translation, because their main purpose is to help you speed things up, like not have to translate everything, but just go and check and verify, or not yourself, but a professional translator.
Right. Jonathan?
Oh, I was just going to ask you, what are some of the main leaders in the automatic translation? So you mentioned it was Google, and what's the other one?
DeepL, DeepL.
And would you say they're the two main ones, or is there a third one that comes?
I'm sure there are others, but yes, judging by what our users requested from us in repeated times, because we always write these things down. These have been the two key services that they wanted to integrate, and most of them said that DeepL is becoming much better than Google has a contextual translation, which is much better.
And the services, the service companies that provide interpreters, and that do any of those come to mind that you would recommend?
These are a lot. There are a lot of services, and you have to. I know a couple, but I haven't tested a lot of them. So I suggest just Googling and doing your own research. There are quite a lot of services. Most of them, the ones that are really good, only offer a few languages.
Right.
Like they are super focused, laser focused, and offer like 10 languages or 20. There are also big players which offer up to 100 or something like that.
So you would say, as a recommendation, if they're only specialising between 5 and 10, that's a good sign. If they're offering more than that, it could be
not necessarily. I think you should read the reviews and see exactly. Do a little bit of research. It doesn't really mean, if you have a lot of languages, of supporting languages, obviously you're a huge company which has a great infrastructure for providing translations. So some of them can be really, really good.
And have you got any idea around price when you're hiring? Can you give us some rough ideas how they charge? Do they charge by the minute, or how do
they normally charge by word?
Right.
So basically, how this works. A lot of WordPress plugins have an integration with a professional translation service. So the way it works, you send a couple of strings to the translator, and then he can send them back directly to the WordPress interface. You approve them, and then they appear as translated on your website, and you get a bill which is calculated based on the number of words you send for translation. This is how it normally works. But you can also keep it simple and send your content to a translator, and then just upload it on your website once it gets translated back to you.
Cindy?
Wow. Like you've opened up a whole new world for me, Adrian. So your plugin's a relatively new plugin?
It has a year and 3 months.
3 months?
Yes.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
Good for you. I can imagine how much work it must be putting one of those together. Can you maybe just tell us the story about, why you decided to do it and what that journey to get you to where it is today, having created a plugin?
Yes. So the main story is that we used to work on a lot of multilingual websites. We built them even for simple presentation sites, but also for university websites where you had really complex setups and so on. And we were really happy with the existing multilingual solutions. We were also looking to come up with a new product because before building TranslatePress, we already had 3 products which we built before, and this sounded like a great opportunity, an amazing opportunity. So we decided to build a plugin that was the main idea was to make it dead simple to use, for non-technical people, not get all the features in it, but just come up with something that would allow to translate your website in a couple of clicks. And the main idea we did is that we moved everything in the front end, basically in an interface that allows you to see exactly what you translate and to modify the translations real time by just simply clicking it and entering the translated text. So once you play with it, it's super intuitive. It's easy to figure out how to translate something. And this works basically with everything, including page builders or complex themes, without having to add compatibility, because we translate the text that it already outputted by these elements on the front end. So that's how we came up with the idea. We thought we're going to ship an initial version in 3 to 4 months. It took almost 8. So we were way off with the initial estimations. But and then we launched it for free on WP.org as a free plugin. And now I would say it grew pretty beautifully. It powers more than 30,000 websites, and people find it really easy to use. We're still doing a lot of polishing, building new features and so on, but it's on the right path.
And what was the launch like? How did you go about getting it out there and letting people know it was available?
Yeah, so we already had we did a couple of things. We tried to leverage the fact that we already had an audience and some existing customers. So we pitched this product to our other customers, which mostly bought like membership plugins from us. We also added the download for free under their user account on Cozmoslabs. We reached out to a lot of websites to write about it. We sponsored a WordCamp in Bucharest, and so on. The idea was not to get sales at first. We wanted to get the free version in as many hands as possible, and to constantly improve the plugin. And I think the key thing was to build a really powerful free version that people can use without having any limitations as to, I don't know, number of words you can translate or things like that. And then we went from there.
Wow, congratulations. That's pretty good in 3 months.
It's an year and 3 months.
Oh, so a year and 3 months. Oh, okay, sorry,
months,
I thought you said it just 3 months. Got it.
Yeah, I would. It would have been great.
I was thinking that's a lot of work in 3 months. You must have a big team. So to kind of wrap up, you said it works on the front end. Does it work reasonably well with the major page builders like Beaver Builder and Elementor?
Yes, it works with all of them. Actually, we had a blog post on Elementor regarding how to translate an Elementor website using TranslatePress. It should work out of the box with any page builder because we're only touching the output on the front end. So the content that it's displayed, we're also, you can also translate like AJAX strings, like the dynamic strings that, for example, WooCommerce, when you add to cart a certain product, you get displayed the message. You can easily translate that as well.
All right. So do you know if it works reasonably well with the two leading learning management systems, i.e. Lifter, LMS, or LearnDash? Does it work with those two?
It should work. It should work. One key thing is TranslatePress doesn't translate the content in your backend. So it translates only the things that are in your front, on the front of the website, in the front end. Everything that's outputted there, you can translate it with TranslatePress easily. So everything that the user or customer sees, you can easily translate it with TranslatePress. Now we're also working on an add-on that will allow you to translate all the get text strings added by certain plugins or themes that appear in the back end of the website. Something like if you're familiar with LocoTranslate, LocoTranslate does that. It allows you to basically translate certain strings added by certain plugins or theme. If they do it in the front end, if you have a string which is outputted by the theme in the front end or by the plugin in the front end, you can easily translate them with TranslatePress. Oh,
sounds great. We're going to wrap up the podcast part of the show, folks. Adrian's agreed to stay on. Cozmoslabs has a membership plugin as well, and some others that Adrian's mentioned. We're going to have a bit of a quick chat about those. So if you want to stay on and listen more, go to the go to the WP-Tonic website, or go especially to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see the whole interview. So Adrian, what's the best way to learn more about you, Cozmoslabs, and what your team are up to?
So we're regularly publishing a transparency report on TranslatePress.com. So you can check out our journey there. We share details regarding revenue, like ups and downs, what we did to promote certain things, to get downloads and so on, what improvements are next in the plugin. And also check out Cozmoslabs.com. That's display of all our products, including what Jonathan mentioned, like the membership plugins we developed.
Oh, that's great. Cindy, how can people find out more about what you're thinking, what you're up to, and your thoughts in general?
Well, you can come visit me at my website at thecourseWhisperer.com, or reach out to me on LinkedIn. So search Cindy Nicholson and you should find me there.
That's great. And if you want to find out more about the membership learning management offerings and what we do for clients, go to the WP-Tonic website, and we got a load of articles that will help you build that first all powerful membership learning management system website. We'll see you next week where we have another great guest sharing their experience and knowledge with you listeners and viewers. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye.
So on to the bonus content. So your membership plugin, tell us a little bit about that, Adrian.
Yes, our membership plugin is called Paid Member Subscriptions. It's basically an easy way to set up a membership site and accept payments. It also has a free version. It powers more than 10,000 websites. You can use it to create subscription plans, restrict content, and accept payments.
All right. So how do you think it fits in with some of the major competition like MemberPress or Pippin Williamson's plugin? How do you kind of think it kind of slots into the competition?
Well, our main purpose with the paid member subscriptions was to make it that simple to use. It has quite a lot of features now because we've been working on it since 3 years. So it has quite a lot of features, but we always didn't look into sacrificing, user experience in advantage of just adding features. So we always wanted to keep it simple with a clean interface, because this was one of the things when we studied the competition. We saw that a lot of plugins, membership plugins especially, had a ton of settings page, and most of them didn't change the WordPress interface. They offered a different styling, which made you switch completely. So we wanted something that blends in nicely and can allow you to set up a membership site easily.
All right. So so you got 10,000 users. So that you got the free version and you got a paid version. Have you?
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to divulge this. How many are using the paid version and how many are using the free version?
From the 10,000?
Yeah.
Honestly, we don't have exact data of the paid versions, or we do, but I have no idea, to be honest, because there are a lot of renewals and a lot of recurring customers. The main difference is that the paid version comes with more features like content ripping or extra payment gateways like support for PayPal Pro and Express and Stripe, and you have things like email reminders or invoices or a lot of things like integration with different services,
right,
and so on. So that is the main difference. But you can set up a membership website and accept payments. We offer PayPal payments in the free version. So we also wanted to make it usable, not something that you install, spend a lot of time setting up, and then discovered, oh, this is actually not working. I need to pay to get to be able to accept payments from my members.
All right. Cindy?
So you have a business that a plugin business sort of thing. Can you talk about what it's like to run a business like that? What are, you talk about the development aspect taking a little longer than expected and always constantly being on top of things from updates. Can you talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of running a business like yours?
I would say it's something we always wanted, like to build a product business. It's our first product was user profile plugin, like Profile Builder, which is also our most popular plugin. Powers more than 50,000 websites. And this is what basically we built it on the side because we didn't like how the default WordPress user registration was looking. So people needed like beautiful forms to sign up users, to allow them to edit their profile, to build directories with users and so on. So we built this plugin and it grew, and at some point it had like the revenues we were making from services were exactly the same as the ones coming from the plugin. So we had to decide, okay, which way, either we split the business in two and we keep the services part, or we completely go on building products. So after discussing with my co-founders, we all agreed that, nobody wanted to manage the services business. So, okay. We said we're going to find these clients, we're going to find someone to take care of them, because we had a lot of people here looking to or working on WordPress mostly. So they are well taken care of. And then we went into building, products. And in less than a year, I think we managed to come up with the remaining 50% of the revenue we lost from the services. And from that on, for example, paid member subscriptions was actually built as a consequence of Profile Builder users asking us, okay, I want to have users that pay to build a profile. Like if they build a profile on my website, I want to have charge them $10 or something like that in order to upload 3 pictures and stuff like that. So we didn't want to like put all these, extra features and payments inside the plugin, and said, okay, why don't we build something different, but which works perfectly with Profile Builder? And this is how we ended up building paid member subscriptions, which turned out to be in the end a full-fledged membership solution, and able to compete with the existing solutions in an overcrowded market, which you both know. So that was the story behind. And the day-to-day tasks are pretty interesting. Yes, development estimations are tough. We've changed a lot of things. We're constantly experimenting, like having teams that work on a certain product. Support is also something we try to provide as good as we can. I think that's the key selling point for most of our clients. Like they come and ask a pre-sale question, and the way you ask, you answer it, and the way you guide them, even though they may never come back or somehow, is something that I think it's an advantage for us, and we try to do it as good as we can. And we also don't keep ourselves from answering the free users, questions, because they are the ones that help us improve the plugin and add certain features and so on.
That's sorry, just one last comment, and then I'll pass it back over to you, Jonathan. But one of the things I like what you're saying, Adrian, about your plugins is you try to keep them lean and mean. So you like really focus on what the main things that they need, and keep out all the extra stuff, which can just make it confusing for people. So I like saying that over and over again. So Jonathan.
So what about Gutenberg? Have you had to retool some of the plugins to deal with that, or because of the areas that you have built the plugins, you've not had to deal with Gutenberg that directly?
Yeah, well, TranslatePress by default is 100% Gutenberg compatible. So you can translate any Gutenberg blocks using TranslatePress. It just simply works out of the box with Gutenberg, so that wasn't an issue. With the other two plugins, there wasn't a lot we had to do. There will be at some point, we will basically try to set up, because there are form builders, if you think about it, they allow you to build user registration forms, edit profile forms, and so on. So at some point, we might think of converting that into a block where you can easily like select, or make it more visual. Simply put, make it more visual. But they work in the latest version of WordPress flawlessly, so that wasn't an issue or a priority for us. But it's something we are keeping in mind, definitely.
Oh, well, sounds great news. Thanks, Adrian, for coming on the show. It's been a blast. And I thought it was a fantastic subject to discuss, the languages and also your pathway in plugin domination. We're going to end the conversation.
Fingers crossed.
End the conversation now, folks. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.